Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Torchtales. One more guest, one more episode, because like I keep saying before, if they keep saying yes, who am I to say no? And today I'm grateful for many reasons, not only because of the location of where we are, which we'll get to that in a second. This is the second conversation I have in this beautiful part of the world, and I'll let my guests tell you where we are and why we are here. Today I have the pleasure of having Troy Saylor. Thank you, brother, for saying yes to this crazy idea. And let's get right into it.
Okay.
Before I ask you, where did you start? How many years have you been in the industry?
22 years.
22 years. All right. Now let's go back, Troy. Where are you from originally?
I was born and raised in Allentown, Pennsylvania, like the Billy Joel song says. Downtown Allentown. That's where I grew up.
Gotcha. And your parents?
Same.
Really?
Just outside of Allentown, but they both grew
so
up
that's
in
what you've known your whole life.
Yeah.
And have you ever thought about moving from there, or you just kind of?
Many times. Both of my kids go to state schools, so in-state tuition's a wonderful thing. So we're trying to keep that as long as we can.
Got it.
We do plan on leaving Eastern Pennsylvania at some point, just not for a couple more years.
Got it. Makes sense. Now, as a kid growing up, what was that little Troy kid into?
Football was my whole life.
Really?
Yeah.
So you played, and
I did.
high school, rec?
Yes.
Cool.
I played actually up until 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. 2020 actually. We even had a partial season during COVID, but I played right tackle until 2020, and then my better half said, "You're done." So.
Hey, right. I get it. I played baseball for a long time, and I had to call it quits for many reasons alike. So kudos to you girls out there that keep us in check.
Take care of us.
Right?
Yes.
And now, so you're playing football. What kind of student were you when you were growing up? I mean, you were enough to just play the game, keep your grades?
Yeah, I was a knucklehead. Yeah,
right?
I really only cared about having fun, playing football.
Yeah, I get it. Now, what was you are at 18, graduating high school, somewhere in that age. Before I ask you, how did you come into the industry? What were you doing then? What was your goal? What did you see as, this is what I want to be?
I actually really like art, so I went to art school.
Really?
I didn't play any sports in college because I went to an art school. They didn't have anything other than intramural stuff.
Okay.
And I focused on graphic design.
Huh.
And some other things.
Yeah.
But I love art, and it didn't take me long to realize it didn't fit the lifestyle that I wanted to have. And after a year and a half, I moved back home and left school. And, I started working for one of Nestle's companies, and I was in the beverage industry.
So doing what for them?
Several different things, from being on the line bottling water to working up in the office to delivery and setting up trucks to different big retail chains across the country.
Gotcha. Now I'm imagining that now you are in your mid-20s, late 20s, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
And
early 20s.
Early 20s? All right. And I'm assuming, just because we've had these conversations, that we're very close to age. I'm 45, you are?
I'll be 47 in a couple weeks.
Right, yeah. So that's what I figured. Now, early 20s. Hey.
Hey, Paul.
So this is funny that this just happened, because we were having this conversation right before we started recording. Hey, so what happens if someone comes by and says hi? Are we going to cut that out? And I'm like, no, we're not. This is what this whole thing is all about. Friends passing by, colleagues, and we got to say hi.
Yeah.
So now, 30s, you're almost starting into the industry.
Well, I actually started in the industry in 2001, 2002.
Okay.
2002.
How did you come into the industry, and who was that company back then? Like, what was the introduction? Through what company?
So I went to art school, and then I actually ended up going to school because I love computers.
Okay.
So I went to school for computers. So I started actually as the IT guy at a company called InWeld.
Okay.
A wholesaler for filler metals in our industry. And it was quickly after starting as the IT guy, I started getting into marketing and then getting into sales.
Really?
And escalated my career from there.
Was that your decision? I'm like, hey, I might be good at this, or someone saw something in you where, hey, let me trust you a little bit more with this because either we're short-handed, we need more help, or how was that whole
Well,
dynamic.
I had a son going into it and a daughter on the way right when I started there, and or before I started there, and I just needed to make money, to be honest with you. Man, it's tough raising kids, so I had to make money. So that's really how it started.
Got it.
And I didn't want anything to do with sales. I was actually kind of an introvert,
Right.
kind of a nerd, the only jock nerd I know. But I really enjoyed sports, but I like computers. My best friend growing up, his dad was a computer guy. And quickly it was, if you don't get into sales, there's not much more you can do here. And I got into sales and did well.
Now, getting into sales from that kind of background, sports, computers, and all that, and now you have to find yourself talking to people and promoting an item, a company, yourself. Was that an easy transition? Did you find that easy? Like once you got into, you're like, it's easier than I thought. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
It was easy, and I remember the day. A good friend of mine, Neil Kramer, he owned a distributorship, a local to where I worked, and we were out on the dock, and I was nervous because I had never done sales in my life, or at least I didn't know. Everybody does sales every single day.
Correct.
But,
We're selling ourselves every
right.
single
I didn't
day.
realize it at the time, but a good friend of mine, Neil Kramer, said, it's really easy. Because I had kids. Again, I had to make this work. So he said, it's real easy, Troy. Everybody wants to buy from their friends, so just make friends. And that's honest truth. That's all I did.
I think every one of us that have been in this or any industry for a while in sales, we realize that at some point. Wow, it's so easy once people's names, once you create that relationship, once you become friends, how selling is just kind of like secondary, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I trust you, I like you, here's some business.
Especially in the welding industry, it's so relationship driven. You and I, our successes are because of our relationships and being honest people and that integrity that goes with it. Because once you kind of get in, you don't generally ever leave.
I can see that, and I've been seeing that more and more. I'm only 12 years in, and I usually say this. Now I don't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah.
Because of the relationships, like you said, I've built, and some of my best friends are just in the industry.
Right.
So it's hard to leave. I get it. Now, how long were you at Inwell before you went to the next venture?
I believe I was there for 12 or 13 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, I was there for a while and did well and really enjoyed my time.
Yeah.
And then I went to the gas industry. The Boyd family owns Cryovation, and they're great friends of mine. I got to know them very well when I was at Inwell doing just events like this. You get to know
So you
them.
go from hard goods to now gas.
Yeah, cryogenics.
How was that?
Gases. It was like science class every single day.
Right.
It was really fun because I am that, I say nerd because
Right.
I own it. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot over 6 years or so there and really enjoyed the experience. And I'm a better person in the welding industry because I have that experience.
So with that company, it's when you started traveling more, or were you already traveling with Inwell?
I was traveling actually more within Weld. When I went to Cryovation, it actually came back a little bit, which was good because my kids were older. I could coach a little bit
Quality
more
time.
and enjoy myself a little bit more and be a better father, a better husband.
Gotcha.
So it was really a good thing for me to do that.
Got
and
it.
a good thing for my family.
Right. So now that you mentioned both your wife and your kids, so how many kids?
2.
And what are their names?
Troy, my son's name is Troy as well. He's also in the industry.
All right.
So I always tell him, don't mess up the name I made. And my daughter, her name is Emma.
Okay, and your wife?
Kathleen.
Kathleen. And how long have you been married?
20.
All right, Kathleen. I hope you're watching this.
22 years.
All right. All right, cool. Now, Cryo, second company in the industry. What came next?
I had an opportunity to join Alliance, and I really enjoyed my time at Cryovation. It's a great company. The Boyd family is an awesome family.
Yeah.
One of my best friends came out of that time at Cryovation, so I really enjoyed it. But I had an opportunity to come over to Alliance Distribution Partners, where I'm at today, to do something that I felt the industry needed, and something I felt like I could do well, and it was something that really hadn't been done.
So before we, like I tell all my guests, we go left and right, up and down. There's no script. Now with Alliance, what exactly is Alliance, and what do you do there?
My official title is VP of Welding
Okay.
at Alliance Distribution Partners.
Gotcha.
But my role is kind of the brands, the customers. I manage the welding distributor, like folks are here, Gas and Welding Distributors Association.
So I'm sorry, where are we right now?
We are at GOTA, the annual convention 2023, and Maui, the Grand Wailea.
I just wanted him to say that because that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
So going back to Alliance, so you manage all that customer base, products, and all that for
Correct.
them. And now you've been with them for how long?
I started in April of 21, so 2 years and change.
Huh. That's actually, I think when people see you, they think it might be longer for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You promote yourself well. You're out there. Everyone knows who you are, and that's at the end of the day. That's all we're trying to do to be recognizable and make sure people at least know what you're about. Where are you guys based out of?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
I still live in Allentown, but that's where the business is located.
Got it. And representing the company, you travel. How much do you travel?
About, on average, I would say a week, a month on average. Some weeks, some month are more than that. Some months I don't travel at all, especially in the winter when it gets really cold.
Correct, right.
Try to stay home during the holidays and such, but it's about a week, a month.
And I know you travel with your wife a lot. It kind
Yeah.
of makes things easier, especially because your kids are older.
Correct.
So, I mean, the wife is happy. She's coming here, getting to see these places, and she's also very good friends with a lot of people in the industry as well.
Yeah, she, happy wife, happy life. So,
That's an understatement.
When she was raising our children, it was difficult. That didn't happen. But once they got older, she could enjoy and come along with me. And what happens is just the wives get to know each other.
Of course.
Social media allows them to communicate very easily.
Yep.
And honestly, for the most part, 90% of my friends are customers or fellow vendors in this industry. It becomes part of your family.
Organically, it happens.
Right.
And it gets to that, and you don't realize that, and you're like, wow, my circle are the same industry.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to know and see that. Now, what are you trying to get when you come to these events? I mean, I know the answer because it's usually the same answer, but you come to these events and the consistency of going to those events. What are you looking for at these kind of events?
Well, at the annual event, it's a little different than the SMC or the buying group events. At this event, we're just trying to communicate that who we are, if they don't know who Alliance is, who we are, the role we play in the welding community and to welding distributors. If they know who we are, just talk about some changes we've made, new hires, because we are growing, and new brands, and continue that relationship, that transfer of trust. And honestly, for me, how are they doing? How can we make their goals easier?
Correct.
I mean, that's really all it is. You're working with your customers to help them reach their goals.
Of course.
And that's the same with us.
Got it. And how many people are out there representing the company?
We have roughly 15 people in all in the sales role in some capacity. Because we're a wholesaler.
Gotcha.
We're a really wide spectrum. So we have some folks that are focused on the big, very big retail
Power
chains,
tools or these or that or in different.
Some focusing on industrial and safety, and then some folks focused on welding, and that's the division that I run.
So what is Alliance story? Where do they come from?
So Roger Woodward is the president of Alliance, and he comes from a very big company, and so I won't say their name because of that, but a very big company. And he ran a business unit for them that actually did like paper and toner and office supplies. And through that, he got to know a bunch of folks at another very big company, and there was some acquisition which didn't leave a whole lot of opportunity or a whole lot of companies in that wholesale spectrum for industrial and welding folks. So he felt, this is in the early 2000s, he said, well, all right, he took a leap and decided to start Alliance and be that wholesaler for the industrial and welding folks. And because welding is so different than a lot of the other businesses, it's so relationship driven.
Correct.
The welding side of their business, although everything else was booming, the welding side didn't. And that's where he needed to bring in somebody who understood welding. We all, internally, we say welding people talking to welding people.
Correct.
And because it is so different, the welding community, I put a team together and we started, and it's really been a great ride.
That's pretty cool. And especially, is that something that he didn't understand in the beginning? Like, hey, the welding industry is a little bit different than these other segments of what we are doing. It's more like I got to be out there and create and shake hands and they got to remember me. It's not like, hey, I have these products, buy it.
Absolutely. It is a different industry. It is shaking hands and getting to know them and their wives and their family, because we're geared selling to independent distributors. And it's families. It's families. They're putting kids through college and food on the table just like we are.
Correct.
And they have the same challenges we have. So it's getting to know them and figuring out how we can help them as a wholesaler. Because it's not always they're buying everything. Sometimes it's just a couple brands here. So just finding out how we can help them. And generally that transfer of trust happens and things open up if we do our side properly.
Yeah. Now, let's go back to the personal side. Who's Troy back home? What are you into? What do you like doing when you're home, not traveling?
Almost every weekend from April to the end of October, I'm camping in the Appalachian Mountains.
Really? Like primitive camping or like,
camper
glamping?
Yeah, my wife prefers the glamping side of it.
Yeah.
But we have a camper, and we have 5 or 6 families out there that we camp with that we know very well. Some of them are in the welding industry, and they become an extension of our family, and we camp with them every weekend. So that's really our biggest thing that we do. We like to travel as well. We get to do events like this.
So now that you mentioned traveling, that's always one of the topics that I bring up. What is one of the places that you've gone to traveling, whether it's on your personal time, whether it's on company time, that you go, wow, that was just amazing. I never thought that was going to be that way. And maybe a place that once you got there, the hype was so great that it was like, oh, okay, it's nice. Without putting any city or any venue down, but can you share like a highlight of a place that was just like...
Yeah, I had an opportunity to go to Turkey, and I went to Ephesus, and it was, we got to visit where the Virgin Mary had lived, and see the Romans, where modern civilization really started.
Right. They were so ahead of their game.
Part of Turkey used to be part of Greece, and it was pretty touching to see all that, and I'll never forget it. It was pretty awesome, actually.
How long ago was that?
12 years ago, 11 years ago.
And was that on a personal trip, or?
It was a business trip.
Gotcha.
We were going over there to see a manufacturing facility, and we had an extra 2 days, so we went through Izmir and got to go to Ephesus, and then we went up into Istanbul, and it's just a different way of life over there, and being where, again, modern civilization really started.
Correct, yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
We take things for granted and think, we invented everything, and
trust me, we did. And you see the Colosseums over there, and these giant stones that these men lifted to work out. At the time, they were doing some
water
digging.
tunnels and all the how they carry. It was just
It was just amazing to see it. So I'll never forget that, of course.
Do you want to share a place where the hype was great, and once you got there, it was not as great as, like a place you went? I'm like, being there, done that, great. I don't need to see it again.
Not really. I really make the best of every situation and where I go, because there's so much beauty in everything if you're looking for it.
Good answer.
If you have a negative attitude, you'll find negativity. But if you just stay positive, and I kind of live my life that way, I'm always a glass half full guy.
Yeah.
So I don't see too much negativity.
Got it. Are you a foodie?
I'm not.
You're not? So family, you don't venture out of the 5-6 plates that you already...
Yeah, I enjoy different foods, and when I was in Europe, I eat a lot of fish and such. My wife actually grew up spent most of her youth in Oahu.
Okay.
So she had a whole different palate than I did. I'm a butcher's kid, so I had a lot of beef and pork. She came over. The only pork she really ate was Spam. They really eat no beef over here,
Yep.
or very little. And so that was, she opened me up to
a new
on
world.
our family farm. We didn't really eat any poultry, so she got me eating chicken. So
Yeah.
that's about the extent of it. I'm not a real big foodie.
Really? What about your kids?
My daughter is.
Yeah.
My daughter Emma, she loves all different kinds of foods, and my son is not. He has a very strict palate.
Now, where do you see yourself in the next, or where would you hope to see yourself in the next 5, 10 years, and the industry as a whole?
I'd love to see independent distributors continue to grow. I really think for our industry that needs to happen. God, I will tell you, 51% of the industry comes through independent distributors.
Yeah.
I believe that to be true. I would love to see that rise. So we need folks like us to get into the industry at a young age. I pushed my son, all his friends into welding, and actually a lot of them have joined in the welding community. We need more of that. We need some of these kids to learn the industry and take a chance and start a business. So I really think that's a big thing for our industry to happen, and I'm a big advocate for that, playing a role in the YP, although I'm not really a young professional anymore, but I do play a role in the YP. And then for me, just continue to get better every single day, make Alliance the best it can be, help distributors continue to grow, and that's really my goal.
Cool. Yeah, that's the reason why I asked that is because you are 100% right. In this industry, we have to share the knowledge, and we have to make sure that this younger generation is going to take over for us. And 47, 45, I mean, we're kind of somewhere in between, right? You know, compared to some of our peers that have all this experience, but they have to make sure they find a way of connecting and passing that knowledge forward. Because if not, what's the point? It's going to die with you, and then you complain about it's not the same anymore. Well, have you make the strides to make sure that that generation took over?
You can't criticize it or complain about it if you're not part of the solution of making it better.
Not only that, it's something that we've created, and now we complain about it. You know, and every generation has had their version of millennials or X or Ys or hippies, you name it. It's the same thing. Troy, I want to thank you. I told you this was going to be harmless. It's a way of sharing other avenues to the welding industry to everyone out there. And when we say, hey, I'm in the welding industry, it doesn't mean that you have to be under the hood with a gun, with a torch. It's so many other things, as you can see some of the guests that I've had, and they share their path into it, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I want to thank you again for saying yes, especially in this location. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. It is beautiful. Anything else that you would want to share with that younger generation that we talk about just now?
It's a tribal knowledge that gets passed down. I don't feel you can learn how to weld, but there's so much more to it. So ask someone older like us that's been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years. Ask us, and we'll help you grow. Get that tribal knowledge. Again, I'm a big advocate for that. So. And if you are someone my age, play a role in growing the industry.
For sure. It's on our best interest for our kids and everybody else. Well, brother, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Guys, again, I hope you like the content. I'll see you somewhere else with somebody else, because if they keep saying yes, who am I to deny them, right? Thank you, guys. See you soon.